A night that starts with a near hat trick ends in wild fashion, but the Vancouver Canucks hold on for a 4-3 win over the Edmonton Oilers. We will get into the breakdown of this game, the breakdown of fans, and a whole lot more. But first, a word from a bald man on how you can watch these broadcasts next year.
Game Over Edmonton is broadcasting from the Game Over Network channel for the playoffs, but come 2024 in October, we're relaunching with our own channel. So for all of your Edmonton Oilers news, analysis, and fun, make sure you open the Game Over Network channel from this video, scroll past my ugly mug, and head on down to the Game Over Edmonton channel from our featured channels area. Click subscribe and make sure you ring that reminder bell to make sure that you get notified whenever we post something or go live. Tell all your Oilers fan friends and family to come join our amazing community. You won't regret it. And on this video, smash that like button right into oblivion.
What a night, as it is the Vancouver Canucks now with a 2-1 series lead following a 4-3 victory over the Edmonton Oilers some way, somehow. Vancouver only plays one-goal games, so you knew that a goal was going to be scored in that scramble. I'm Peter Klein, and joining me today, very excited about this, Kaja May. You are familiar with her from the first couple of games of the series. Kaja, we haven't had the pleasure of doing this yet, so I'm excited. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, it would be better if we got the hat trick, but I'll take it. I'll take the win. Either way. Yeah, great to um not have to worry about OBS tonight. So,
Yeah, you were treated to my pregame tradition of absolutely freaking out just before we go live on the air. So apologies for that, but yes, no, that this is a game that had a little bit of everything, and then didn't with a hat trick, and then we didn't, and then Lindholm almost got one anyway, after stealing it from Brock Besser. It was a game that had a player get deposited onto the bench, a goalie grab a player's stick in the crease for reasons, Elias Lindholm watching Tony Hawk videos and riding that puck like a skateboard before scoring a goal. Just a little bit of everything in this game. But Kaja, I thought the story of this one, and I know a lot of people are going to point to officiating, and we'll have to talk about that in a bit, but the story of this game, yeah, people have thoughts. I thought the story of this game was goaltending. And the quality goaltending on one end and the lack thereof on the other. Your team won, so we will start with yours. I don't know if Thatcher Demko stops a billion pucks in that one. Maybe it looks a little bit better, but goaltending, not the concern that other people thought it was going to be going into this series, with Seeloff's playing out of his mind to start this.
oh yeah, no, he is on another planet at this point. Like there were some questions, I think, even during game one when the Canucks go down 4-1, obviously there's a bit of concern. He's allowed 4 goals. What's going to happen next? And they keep Shilovs in. Talkett trusts him, and yeah, he's put on a stellar performance. Stops 41 of 44 shots, which is crazy. It shows the offensive mind of Edmonton that really is the driving force for the team. But yeah, Archer Shilovs is probably a the biggest kind of revelation. And like I feel personally from watching him, he's always been pretty good. Like, but who knew that he was gonna have like this kind of impact at such an important time? Because I don't think like yes, Thatcher Demko is out right now with an injury. If they played Casey DeSmith instead, I don't think he would have it would Edmonton apparently also got credited with another shot because NHL.com just put 45 shots. So 42 of 45. What a night for the 23-year-old. So yeah, I was watching with my upstairs with my mom and my sister, and he takes his helmet off at the end of the game, and my mom's like, "Oh, he's just a baby." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's saving the Canucks. So it's really it was kind of like an earlier version of what happened with Markstrom and Demko in the 2020 bubble playoffs. When Markstrom goes down, Demko comes in and almost saves the season. We end up losing to Vegas. But I think it's a been on a different level here, and I can't wait for the Demko She Loves tandem next year. That's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, by that account, then Demko's going to be a flame in 8 years. But yeah, no, this was also. I think there's a bit of a delay on my video here, so I'm sorry that things might be a little wonky for those watching. But hopefully, my brilliant insight is enough to get through it. There is a lot going on in the Vancouver net right now, and I think that this was supposed to be a real downside, but instead, like I thought Shelov's really kept them in this game, and like those two Draisaitl chances where he gets behind the defense, and then it's just like it's you against one of the best players in the world, and the post helps him out on one, but a big save on another. So I thought it wasn't just like the amount of saves is obviously absurd, but the quality of saves that he had to make was also really, really important.
That's the thing is what I've noticed with She Loves is his reaction time is very quick. He's a very quick with reacting to shots. He's very quick to kind of read the play. Like there's been some plays where he's been off and miscalculated. Like for example, the Draisaitl goal on the power play to make it 3-2. Um but that was more because he was focused on Ryan Nugent Hopkins instead of noticing that Leon Draisaitl was like right to his left. So, and also Zach Hyman was standing directly in front of him, so that also doesn't help. With the, yeah, he has very good reaction time. Also, really good with rebounds is what I've noticed. Specifically with him because there are some goaltenders, Casey Smith included, that really struggle with getting the chance, swallowing the puck, getting it out. Like he either swallows the puck or he gets it out and clears it to a Canucks player or just gets it out of harm's way, essentially. So yeah, he's really good in that kind of sense. And I feel like there was some apprehension because yeah, he's a young goalie. Yes, he's played pretty much most of his career in the AHL. But he's he was the MVP of the men's worlds last year for a reason. So,
Yeah.
or men's the goaltending MVP anyway. I think it was MVP overall. I might be mistaken, but um he yeah, he's really good.
Yeah.
Ian Clark is working magic.
No kidding. On the Edmonton side, not as magical for Oilers fans. The goaltending experience. I know I'm doing the Edmonton portion of this representing Alberta, but I'm traditionally the Game Over Calgary host. So I do want to get the Game Over Edmonton point of view. Zach Wheel, who'll be doing these again next year, very eloquent on social media. I'll just go through his stream of consciousness online. Make a save. Holy fuck! What is this? Pull him. Every scoring chance has gone in the back of the net. For fuck's sakes, bad giveaway, but come on. And then horrible luck on one of those as well. And then the delightful cherry on top is start Jack Campbell in Game 4. So that's that's where Oiler fans are at right now. Not great. And
Oh,
a
yeah.
bit of a problem in Edmonton. I like Skinner has not been very good and has, I think, been rather detrimental to this team's success. I think he's also a big reason why they had the success they did, turning it around when it was going real bad there in the early part of the season for Edmonton. So I thought that I think they maybe should give him one more go, but I do think that leash is getting really, really small out here in Edmonton right now.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's been a lot of chances that he should have had that just go into the net. Jack Campbell, that's an interesting one. I remember I covered the first game of the season, which was the 8-1 Canucks win against the Oilers, and I covered that with Zach, and yeah, I bet he's feeling great right now, but sorry, bud. But yeah, Stuart Skinner, this what I kept thinking of when it was confirmed that Vancouver was going to be playing Edmonton in the second round, which I feel like was always the end result in a lot of people's minds because Edmonton has LA's numbers, and Vancouver, there was a little bit of tension, but they were going to beat Nashville. When it comes to like maybe his numbers weren't as bad during the LA series, but that's just because LA can't score. Like they're not an offensive team unless they're playing the Vancouver Canucks and they score 5 a night. Um, because apparently that's the only time that they can actually provide offense. It's bad. Um, like the Oilers knew how to shut down LA. It feels like they still don't know how to shut down Vancouver. And Edmonton is a primarily offensive based team. They have two of the best players in the world on their team. Like number one guy, Connor McDavid, and so they're going to be offensively minded. They have a guy that scored 50 this year. Evan Bouchard is getting hype on social media because he has more points than Quinn Hughes. But can he defend? That's the question. The Oilers are not as defensively minded as a lot of other teams in this league are. They don't have great defense and they don't have the great goaltending behind them. Stuart Skinner has kept them in at points in the season, but at the same time, and yeah, he was an all-star by the fan vote. At the same time, he's just not been good for this season, and I think the Canucks, they know how to beat him. He's been in net for every single time the Canucks have played the Oilers in some capacity. In the 8-1 loss for Edmonton at the beginning of the season, he came in relief, I believe, for Jack Campbell. But yeah, he played every single game against the Canucks, and I think they figured out how to beat him. Like the Nikita Zadorov goal from game 2, like I feel like Shilovs could have gotten that. It's Nikita Zadorov. It's not like he's you saw him in Calgary. It's not like he's easy to miss.
Right.
Like he's massive. And I mean I get it. It was an odd angle, but still there were 2D out there that didn't block him. There was a goaltender that is supposedly the Oilers' savior. They have so much hype in their offense that they've forgotten the rest of the ice exists. And yeah, they're not strong past their own blue line.
We'll talk a bit about defending here in a couple of minutes because there's a couple things that you picked up on that I want to touch on. But first, get your messages in to the chat. I realize right now I look like a badly dubbed video, but we'll get to all of that coming up in a little bit. But first, a word on how you can find some stuff, not just Edmonton or Calgary or Vancouver, but our friends out east as well starting next season.
Game Over Ottawa is relaunching in October. So for all of your Ottawa Senators action, reaction, news, analysis, and fun, make sure that you click on the Game Over Network channel right now, open a new tab in this video, scroll past My Ugly Mug, and click on the Game Over Ottawa channel. Subscribe, and then hit that drop-down menu. Make sure you hit the alarm bell so that you get notified whenever we post a video or go live. Tell all your Sens fans, friends, and family to check out our awesome community, and make sure you smash the like button on this video right into oblivion.
I've told Ashok a couple of times now, but he gave me that script to do for the Calgary one, including the scroll past my ugly mug. It's like, that's a little hurtful that like you give that to me. But either way, it turned out to be, he said a mistake, but we'll see. You talking about Edmonton hasn't really figured out how to defend Vancouver yet. You kind of noticed how Vancouver was defending what I am calling the McDryman line with McDavid, Draisaitl, and Zach Hyman. What have you noticed in how the Canucks have attacked what I feel pretty comfortable in calling the top line for Edmonton?
Well, the top line and basically the only line. They all played almost half an hour the other game. And they were basically on the ice every other change, and so it's a little wild out there. Yeah, there were high ice time for those three, and then Bouchard and Ekholm, two very offensively minded D-men, which Ekholm is very good defensively as well. But with the Edmonton lineup, Vancouver needed to shut down the power play, especially Connor McDavid, especially Leon Draisaitl, and Avery and I talked during last show about how the 29-97-18 line, or what you called the McDryman line.
Yeah, the McDryman line, yeah.
The McDryman line. That's an interesting one. I feel like that's like a Tumblr tag somewhere. But He Avery mentioned that it was like kind of like a desperation last act, and I thought it was interesting that they're going into this on home ice. The series is tied, and that they still go with that line because that's the only real line that's producing anything. Um, Talkett had some interesting quotes early on about um on specifically Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. We respect them a little too much. Like giving them too much space, saying that the Canucks need to be more aggressive, especially in the corners, along the boards, etc. They need to close chances on those two players, especially more aggressive, allowing less time and space. So they kind of did that this game. Obviously, Draisaitl had a number of chances. He has a goal, because he's still able to move around the ice very efficiently. He has those chances. One hits the post, one Shelov's absolutely robs. But McDavid was kind of shut down tonight. And you could tell like he was not okay with what was going on. But yeah, there were quite a number of defensive moves that were pretty good. Especially Myers and Miller. Especially Miller. Miller was hard on McDavid's back the entire time. I think there was some comment made. I don't know if it was on the radio or on the TV when I was listening, but somebody said that Connor Garland should be added to the Team USA roster for the Olympics just to follow Connor McDavid around. And just bug him the entire time. I thought that was interesting, but yeah, the Canucks have basically they contained Connor McDavid, and that's not going to happen every game. Obviously, last game he had a lot of chances. And they need to get better control of Leon Draisaitl, but otherwise, I think that's pretty good. They figured out sort of how to defend on Draisaitl later on in the game, like very late. But yeah, JT Miller especially deserves a shout out for the way he's kind of closed a lot of the gaps for number 97 there in the orange and blue.
Yeah, no, I thought Miller was really, really good in this game. And I'm not exactly a card carrying member of his fan club, but I thought he played really well in this game. And just kind of understand, like, you're never going to, like, McDavid is the you can't stop him, you can only hope to contain him guy. And I thought they also did a good job of cutting off the passes to Hyman. Like, Tyler Myers, I don't know if his skates actually touched the ice on that one penalty kill. He was just laying down on the ice, just like backstroking the whole time. That looks really weird out of sync. But like he was just he was cutting that pass off so well. And they were just like, no, you're not that, like, you can do the one where Seeloff is looking one way and you shoot it the other way. But we're not letting that cross ice pass go. I thought they did a good job with that as well. And you're right, like the Edmonton secondary scoring just isn't there. Late in the first period, they actually said, well, Edmonton's looking for a spark here offensively. So they're going to send out the Derek Ryan line, which are not thoughts that are generally meshed together all that often. Edmonton's struggling to find it right now, and I am not a big fan of them doing the break glass in case of emergency. I do wonder how much Draisaitl being hurt factors into this. And if he had his bursts tonight, obviously, but I don't know if he is, to steal the basketball term, creating his own shot if he is out there on his own line. So I do think there is a part of it that's out of necessity, but Kaja, the secondary scoring for Edmonton is just not existent right now, which is wild in a game where they got 1 billion shots on the net.
Yeah, it's really non-existent. I like that you mentioned that they put out the Derek Ryan, the fourth line. Um they had a few shots near that end bit, but if you're really struggling for an offense, and this is like right after everyone thought that Brock Besser had a hat trick, um, but yeah, so they're trying to generate more offense and just nothing,
Yeah.
nothing, absolutely nothing. Yeah, my question, like, I understand the standpoint of Draisaitl's injury, and they kind of want to prop him up because I feel, yeah, if they add him to a second line and they have two lines that are okay, I feel like that's just gonna bring down the second line. Like, I am not an avid NHL, like the video game player, but like when you move the lines around and you move one and then it goes into the red a little bit.
Hmm.
I don't know. I just watch a lot of videos of it. It's not available on PC, so I can't play it. But when that's my main problem. It's my main issue. I'm done with the hat trick stuff. I need EA to add it on PC. Anyway, um yeah, I feel like if they move him off of the McDavid Hyman, like move that line separated to try and generate more offense, it's just going to create a worse situation. Um, because you're just even lessening the effectivity of your offense there. Um, it's like with the Canucks when they put Pettersson, Miller, and Besser all together on a line. Yes, that one line really is good together, and that's great. But
Hmm.
you can also spread them out, and you have other chances. You have other shots. Linus Karlsson played his fifth career NHL game today, his first in the playoffs ever. And he was a pretty good factor tonight. Ilya Mikheyev, I was judging the fact that he was still in the lineup, but he still did some good things tonight. He wasn't Ian Cole, is what I'm saying. But when it comes to the Canucks, even when you separate those two, and even Pettersson might be injured too. Even if that's like a rumor, they're still able to produce, and they're still also able to produce in their kind of bottom six. Like Lindholm is their third line center. Um,
Hmm.
just gestures at Dakota Joshua and Connor Garland. They do have that depth, whereas the Oilers are basically riding on the high that is Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Zach Hyman, Evan Bouchard, and Matthias Ekholm, and just thinking they can clean up their mess, like all of it. And
Yeah.
they have so many basically liabilities. You have a 12 point whatever $1 million anchor on your blue line that is Darnell Nurse. You have Stuart Skinner, who probably can't see past his mustache at this point to stop a shot. And it's
It's a
just
problem.
there's thanks for the confirmation. It's and their only chances on net are by like five guys, and you can't play those five guys the entire game. They tried in game two, but it's like the tortoise and the hare. They're going to run out of energy the longer the series goes on. So even if Edmonton is able to push it to 6 or 7 games, they're gonna run out of juice.
Yeah. Still a lot to get to. I do want to touch on the officiating thing briefly. And I cannot stress briefly enough. And we'll get into to some of your thoughts coming up here in the presser in a little bit. So get those thoughts in the chat. We are up against it a little bit because you boys broke and didn't pay for Zoom. So we are kind of up against it, but I do want to get to a couple of those things. But before that, here is me talking with a different color in the background. Game Over Calgary is relaunching in October. For all your Game Over Calgary content, make sure you subscribe to our Calgary-specific YouTube channel. Open the Game Over Network YouTube page in a new tab from this video, scroll past Andrew talking, and click on the Game Over Calgary channel in our featured channel section. Click subscribe and make sure you hit the drop-down menu to get notified when we post videos or go live. Tell all your Flames fan friends and family to check it out and join our awesome community. And make sure you smash the like button on this video right into oblivion. It's wild. Didn't read a line of that. Just ad-lib the whole thing. Officiating was talked about a lot coming into this one. A certain piece from a certain network and a certain dude had people talking about certain things. We can have one brief thing and then we'll get into what we would change going into the next game. My thoughts, my official stance, no one has ever lost the game because of officiating. Vancouver did not lose the last game because of officiating. Edmonton didn't lose this game because of officiating. They lost because their goalie couldn't make a save. So the whole officiating thing is ridiculous. I thought that was a gross mischaracterization of the whole Coach Nielsen thing. Like all of it was just really, really bad. And I hate officiating talk more than anything. So that's my piece on it. Thoughts?
I was just gonna say, yeah, I agree with the Canucks didn't lose last game because of officiating. There were missed calls on both sides, but the Canucks played absolutely horribly last game. With this game, I thought it was or just that piece in general. I didn't actually know who wrote the actual piece because I've just been I've been really busy the last couple days, so I just haven't been on Twitter. So I just completely missed that it was that guy's piece. And I didn't find out until later and listening to the radio broadcast. I was like, oh, that makes sense why everyone's talking about the difference between Vancouver and Edmonton's reaction and officiating. And I don't know, personally, I watch a lot of soccer or football for those of you who aren't in two countries in the world. Um, but every time that there's a call or something, and Edmonton players, whether it's McDavid, Draisaitl, any of them, go to crowd the ref, it feels so much like I'm watching MLS action. Like it's just I'm snapped back and it's the Seattle Sounders. Great. That's what it feels like to me sometimes. Like especially McDavid tonight. Like you could see the Canucks were getting to him a bit. Which I feel like was Talkett's goal a bit, but yeah, officiating wise, the Oilers didn't lose because of officiating. They just need to, learn how to score 5-on-5, which they can't even say they did because technically their only goal not on the power play was with the goalie pulled. So
Yeah. You mentioned the soccer thing, or sorry, the football thing. It kind of reminds me, like you can see the wrestling belt a little bit in the background, where like a guy doesn't get the pinfall and he'll go 1, 2, 3, like he's obviously the bad guy. And it's obviously scripted and everything like that, but he's just putting on a show to show how upset he is about the officiating. Quickly, any changes you want from the Canucks going into Game 4 on Tuesday?
I think Hoglander should factor back in, but put him in the bottom six. If Phil Giuseppe is still out, I do like Niels Oman, and I like that he's getting a big chance again. But I think that Niels Hoglander deserves another chance. And he does operate really well in that bottom six area. I feel like if you put him in the top six, there's a bit too much pressure. He scored 24 goals in the regular season. That should not be over exaggerated, and most of those were even strength as well. So I think that yeah, he should factor into the lineup again, sooner rather than later.
And on the Edmonton side, I would still start Skinner. If it were up to me, Nurse and Cece would never play another shift together again, but it's not. But I think you have to give Skinner a very, very, very short leash, like almost comically short. That would be my take. All right, let's get into the presser now. Give us your thoughts in the chat. Someone here, Connor, sorry. Am I allowed to say the Calgary Flames are the personification of mediocrity? I mean, yeah, you're allowed to speak the truth on here. Thanks for Lindholm and thanks for Big Z. You are most welcome on both fronts. Zadorov is the type of irrational confidence guy that you win with. I have loved all of that. Like, I joked when I hosted one of the Vancouver Nashville ones in the first round where everyone was saying like Vancouver's top players aren't stepping up, and I can just see like Talkett saying that in the locker room, like, hey, we need our big guys to step up. And before anyone could say anything, Zadorov's right. You know what? You're right. I need to step up here. You guys. I message received, coach. Like he is that guy. I love Zadorov for that. I guess what are your thoughts on Big Daddy Zaddy and his Vancouver Canuck tenure so far?
He's he was a bit underwhelming in the regular season, I'm not gonna lie, but he's definitely shown up this postseason. Just that big hit on Kane tonight, that was chef's kiss, no notes. I like that analogy, like the big guys need to step up. And yeah, Zadorov, Myers, Susie, all great in the postseason so far. Um, both Lindholm and Zadorov, I feel like were a bit underwhelming in the regular season, but come playoff time, they're absolute beasts. So I think it was a good point. I also see a note. I feel terrible for Cole. It might be time to scratch him. I 100% agree with that. Connor also said time to play Noah Juleson. 100% agree with that. Surrey boy, gotta represent. Yeah, I think that it's an exciting time. The Canucks are still undefeated on the road, so hopefully that'll continue for them in next game. And I think that would even them winning their win likelihood would skyrocket if Ian Cole was not playing.
Well, like 25% of the last goals that Edmonton have scored have gone in off of him. So that is pretty fair. All right, that is going to do it. Apologies for my bad clock management, but I think we got some good stuff in here. The next time these two teams face off will be Tuesday. It will be Kaja and Andrew Berkshire will be in this chair here as we get ready for what is a pivotal fourth game in this series. So all of you, thank you so much. Remember to subscribe to not just this one, but all the Game Over channels, and we will talk to all of you, well, at least Kaja will, in the next game.